locomotive per suonare questa sera, quindi gli diamo il benvenuto qui a Radio Città del Capo. Welcome Arto.
Welcome. I mean,
that's
thank you.
That's not the translation of everything I said. I just introduced you to our listener.
Io capisco
really?
italiano.
Ah, perfetto.
Allora parliamo in italiano.
Non parlo
Sì che parli italiano.
bene così, però
Ma invece
Ma mi sembra che parli
Capisco.
italiano. Ah beh, se capisci allora ottimo. You prefer speaking in English or Italian?
let's speak Italian, and then if I don't understand, I'll...
Ok, molto bene, perfetto. Quindi stavo introducendo ai nostri amici ascoltatori che nel frattempo stanno scrivendo.
sì, il cellulare è impazzito.
Stanno scrivendo in tantissimi per salutarti e per vincere il biglietto di questa sera al Locomotive, perché abbiamo regalato un biglietto per il concerto, quindi sai che noi italiani appena c'è qualcosa di gratis subito ci ammucchiamo. E avevo introdotto insomma la tua figura, la tua personalità, i tuoi tanti lavori, e però ti volevo chiedere innanzitutto come stai e come è andato il viaggio da Roma.
Tutto bene. Un dia bellissimo, sole.
How is the Italian tours going so far?
Good.
Have you been in like Brescia the night of...
Trento and Breno, not even Brescia, Breno.
It's a town like in Val Camonica, right?
Yeah.
And it was the very night of the Azzurri loss. I saw that you posted a picture of Buffon crying in your Facebook.
Yeah, that was a drag. Actually, yeah,
How
that was
did-
Trento. That was Trento.
How the crowd react to the loss?
They didn't react.
Ah, okay.
But we had some interesting crowds. In Breno, was it? Yeah, in Breno, there was a guy that would yell after every song. We'd finish a song and he would go, "Oh!" And then we would,
And he was like,
you know, next song, oh! Really strange.
Allora, Arto ci sta raccontando di questo personaggio nel pubblico di Breno, che è stato un concerto nella Val Camonica, avvenuto la sera dopo la partita persa degli azzurri, argomento che ho tirato fuori perché nel suo Facebook c'è un meme di Buffon che piange e insomma ha raccontato di questo personaggio nel pubblico che faceva questi suoni strani. Molto strani.
Non sono responsabili per miei fan. My fan?
Yeah,
Me fan?
Yeah.
Miei fan?
Tuoi fan.
For yeah, definitely. You're coming back in Bologna after many years. I know that you played here before, but I wanted to talk about your relationship with this very city. Because if I'm not going wrong, you came here for the first time back in the 80s.
I did
with Lounge Lizard, right?
No, with DNA.
Ah, with DNA, okay.
In 1980.
Okay. And also you produced a Bologna band called Hi-Fi Bros.
That's right.
That were in the Bologna avant-garde scene with Gas Nevada and other people.
I haven't seen them in many years, actually.
Are you gonna see them tonight at Locomotive?
I don't know. Maybe they'll come, but
Hopefully.
I've been here to Bologna several times since, and they never came. Maybe they moved.
Yeah. Boh, I don't know.
But if they're listening, we can invite them.
Un appello.
But how did that happen? How did it's your first production of a record, right?
It was, yeah. And then I didn't produce for many more years. Actually, we had a friend in common, a guy called Renato Di Maria, who's a director, and Mariuccia Casadio, she works at Vogue still. She's the art director, or she writes about art for Vogue.
Renato Di Maria from Frigidaire, right?
I'm not sure. Frigidaire, the magazine?
Yeah, the magazine.
No, I think it was a different guy.
Okay.
Yeah. But, yeah. So actually, when we played at this festival, we played at the Palasport, huge. For us, so many people. And we were just beginning. Well, actually, we were just about to end the band, but it was... we stayed. The other bands went back to New York, and we stayed because we liked Italy so much, and we stayed for a month.
Wow.
And we played in different places, and I worked with Hi-Fi Brothers, and...
Wow. Quindi sostanzialmente, traduco brevemente per i nostri amici all'ascolto, ho chiesto ad Arto della sua relazione con Bologna, che inizia appunto nel 1981, quando arriva per la prima volta con i DNA, la band da lui fondata negli anni 70 a New York, ed erano arrivati per suonare al Paladozza, credo, Palasport, e tutte le altre band poi sono tornate negli Stati Uniti mentre lui è tornato, e tra le tante cose che ha fatto quando era qua in Italia ha anche prodotto un album di questa band, Hi-Fi Brothers, che non vede da tanto tempo, e li abbiamo invitati al concerto del Locomotive di questa sera. What's your remember of those years in Bologna? What do you remember about the atmosphere and the like avant-garde scene of that era?
I remember the food, but I also remember that it was a very intelligent atmosphere here.
Okay.
More than in the U.S.
Okay.
Really?
That people talked about music in a more interesting way, and they were interested in politics in a really interesting way, you know? And
it was a very fertile period.
it was a great period.
For the radio as well, because
Right, that's true.
in Bologna there was Radio Alice and also
That's right.
Radio Città, which is the mother of this radio,
Yeah.
and it comes from those years in mid-70s, so it was a very fertile
That's true. I
atmosphere.
remember those two stations.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you what happened in like East Village and New York City since then, because it was such a fertile atmosphere back then, and now I've been in New York last month. It's like a shopping center.
It's like a
super
shopping center.
gentrified.
Yeah.
What happened? Why?
I don't know. I mean, when I moved there, it was very cheap. You know, so many young people moved there. Times changed. You know, the United States became very prosperous, and New York also became a popular place for rich people from all over the world. So there are many. It's a little bit like the center of London. There are many, many apartments that are empty all the time because the people that own them don't even live there. You know.
It's so expensive to live that no art is possible to create in there, right?
Yeah, it's become a kind of vitrini,
Yeah.
shop
Vetrina.
window.
Vetrina.
Vitrina for culture, you know. There's still some stuff happening, but it's much more difficult than before.
Stavamo discutendo di cosa è diventato l'East Village ed in generale Manhattan, ma poi I would extend this topic also to Brooklyn, because Brooklyn for a very brief period in the early 2000s was a place where basically art could still happen, but nowadays it's super gentrified as well. Is there any place in New York where like you could really think about like young and poor artists like you were in the late 70s?
Philadelphia.
Okay, beautiful city. I've been there as
Yeah,
well.
you know, I think people just move away, you know, and also I think they move to other countries.
Okay.
You know, I think that for a while people were moving to Berlin, and I think Portugal is popular now with people that want to make something but don't have any money yet, you know what I mean? And
Yeah,
travel, like musicians or young artists.
Lisboa is a great town right now.
Yeah,
For this.
exactly.
Is this connected to the reason that you decide to come back to Brazil? Or
Well, no, I really had personal reasons for moving back to Brazil, and but I go to New York a lot to work, but I don't really have a desire to live there anymore.
Abbiamo fatto una lunga digressione, traduco un po' per i nostri amici all'ascolto, una lunga digressione su quella che è lo stato della gentrificazione nel East Village, luogo e quartiere storico in cui negli anni 70 i DNA hanno preso forma, tutta la scena della no wave ha preso forma. Adesso menzionavo il fatto che fosse diventato un quartiere molto ricco, come del resto tutta Manhattan, come del resto tutta Brooklyn. Gli ho chiesto se ci sono dei posti secondo lui in cui è ancora possibile fare arte a New York, e mi ha risposto Filadelfia, che effettivamente è molto più a misura d'uomo, e gli ho chiesto anche se c'era una connessione tra questa espansione della città in senso capitalistico ed economico con la ragione per il fatto che lui ha deciso di tornare nel Brasile, dove ha trascorso l'adolescenza. Ha detto no, sono trasferito per motivi molto personali. And when did you decide to come back in Brazil, were you already fascinated by Brazilian music?
Yeah, I grew up in Brazil.
But
so I always loved Brazilian music, and I was a teenager there.
Uh-huh.
So when I first started to really enjoy music, it was both international music, American, British music, and also Brazilian music.
Those were the years of tropicalismo, right?
Yeah, those were the 60s.
And then when you started playing music in the 70s, you added in a completely different direction, right?
Well, I think it was connected, because I think in the 60s people felt free to experiment, and you could experiment and still be considered a pop musician or a rock and roll musician, and I think we miscalculated. We thought we might be really popular, so we went as far as we could, but didn't really work out that way.
And like Tropicalismo stars were actually superstars as we imagined them. They had like a huge influence in Brazilian culture of the 60s.
They did, but of course it grew. It grew with time.
Yeah.
It was big. They were pop stars, but they seem much more important now than at that moment.
Like Caetano Veloso, Gilberto Gil, many of them. And you ended up working with them.
I did work with Caetano, and with Gil a little bit, but mostly with Caetano.
And that was like your work as a producer more than...
Right, exactly, as a producer. And sometimes I've written some songs with Caetano,
But I wanted to ask you what happened since your last album as a musician or a songwriter, because your last album is, if I'm not going wrong, is from 2004.
That's right.
What happened in 13 years?
I did other things.
Okay.
I started to make parades.
In Carnival, Rio de Janeiro?
Well, I started in Bahia.
Whoa.
With a friend of mine, and then I began to do these all over the world at museums or art fairs or biennales or something.
Like carnival parades?
Kind of, like a sort of personal carnival parade with an idea and a different kind of music. And
wow, beautiful. Didn't know that.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And you was born in Brazil, and what was the cultural shock once you arrived in the United States as a teenager?
Well, I actually was born in America and moved to Brazil when I was very young, 3 years old.
Okay.
But my family was American, and I studied English and I was listening to American music. So when I arrived in America, it wasn't such a big culture shock.
You had an English education, a classic
I had both.
education.
Both.
Okay.
English and Portuguese, American and Brazilian.
Okay, but musically speaking, what was the biggest influence looking back at those years in
Jimi Hendrix.
Oh, okay.
For sure.
Wow. And this very album is this very album has a strange title, which is Cuidado Madame. What does it mean, and what's the Italian translation of it? If you
it means
want to venture.
Attento, signora. Forse.
Attento, signora.
Attento, or cuidado. Cuidado is be careful.
Okay.
Careful,
attento.
Yeah.
And where does it come from?
How do you say be careful in Italian?
Occhio, attento.
Attento, sì. Occhio, it's like
Occhio is like more Bologna.
But like don't cross the street because the bus is coming. Occhio.
Occhio is the right word. Right. But it's very vernacular.
Right. Dialetto Bolognese.
If they're like somebody was about to spill a beer in like your guitar tonight, you have Occhio.
But what about if a little child is going to run into the street?
Occhio.
Occhio, okay.
Occhio.
No, be careful.
Occhio.
Be careful.
It comes from occhio.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, there are a lot of words in Italian that come from dialect. Also, ciao, I think that comes from the word slave.
It does, yeah.
Because like I'm your slave.
Tuo, yeah.
Yeah.
I know that. That's kind of terrible, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm like, see.
I just found that out recently.
It's like I'm your servant, something like that.
Yeah, it's...
But I never say ciao when...
I say ciao always, but I found out like last year about Tuo.
Slavery is a pretty dominant topic in Brazilian culture, right? Like still nowadays, you feel the centuries of...
Absolutely. Like in the United States.
Yeah.
I think they're really defined by culture.
It's a connection they have
Yeah, it's a connection. I usually see the similarities more than the difference.
Ok.
The differences.
La cultura brasiliana è molto simile a quella americana, ci raccontava Arto prima quando parlavamo di questo cultural shock che ha avuto trasferendosi da adolescente dal Brasile agli Stati Uniti. In realtà cultural shock che non c'è stato perché aveva avuto un'educazione anglosassone, aveva ascoltato tanti musicisti degli Stati Uniti come Jimi Hendrix, che ha menzionato come essere il musicista più influente della sua formazione. Per quanto concerne invece poi le nostre derivazioni etnolinguistiche, abbiamo iniziato a insegnare la parola ocio, a cui siamo poi arrivati a schiavo, e al fatto che la schiavitù sia presente sia nella cultura brasiliana sia insomma il fardello anche della cultura americana. How this album was conceived and born and
well, I wanted to make a record. I started to play with the band.
They're like the two guys that
actually with a big larger band.
Okay.
With bass, drums, keyboards and percussion. Marivaldo, who's playing with me tonight, plays percussion in the larger band.
Okay.
And those are guys that Melvin Gibbs, bass player, we've written and produced and done so many things together for so many years, and we found some younger players and started to play again. So that got me enthusiastic to make a new record.
And this album sounds a little bit more traditional than some of your earlier works, and there's a lot of influence by the traditional rhythms of candomblé. And I wondered how this path led you to like a more traditional sound at the beginning. That's usually what people does. Like when they are young, they're more radical, and then when they get old, they, I don't know, get more conservative somehow.
Yeah, I don't know if this record is more conservative than the other solo records.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's got some uncut noise, some really strong noise, and the candomblé rhythms are actually more complicated than a lot of the rhythms on the other
it's almost
solo
hypnotic.
records.
It's almost hypnotic as as a effect.
I mean, maybe you think it's more traditional because a lot of it is recorded live in the studio.
Okay.
It's not so electronic, the beats. But, I mean, right now the electronic beats are not changing so fast.
No, definitely
It's been like trap for like 10 or 15 years or something, so
Yeah.
it's not so new. I mean, there was a point in the 90s where drum and bass, jungle and then drum and bass were so exciting and so new.
Yeah.
There was another moment in the 90s where Timbaland and kind of commercial hip-hop was the most avant-garde thing, But right now,
this trend stopped. Like
there are not such exciting rhythmic trends in pop music.
Ok.
Abbiamo
fatto una parentesi su quelle che sono invece le influenze più dirette di questo disco, un disco che affonda molto profondamente le radici brasiliane di Arto, anche utilizzando i ritmi candomblé che sono molto presenti. Alla mia domanda se si trattava di un disco dalle sonorità più conservatrici rispetto alle atmosfere anche noise punk del passato, Arto ha detto no, perché comunque in realtà si tratta comunque di sonorità molto difficili. Sembrano semplici perché le ascoltiamo spesso, ma in realtà musica brasiliana e spesso il candomblé hanno una matrice molto più complessa di quelli che sono i ritmi che vengono utilizzati nel pop, e poi ha fatto una lunga finestra, una lunga parentesi tra quelli che erano i ritmi utilizzati negli anni 90, la jungle, poi ha nominato Timbaland per quanto concerne la produzione hip hop degli anni 2000. Ora in realtà siamo un po', come dire, una comfort zone for...
Ma se comparato a DNA, certamente c'è una faccia più convenzionale.
Certo. DNA was more disruptive at the time. But that's normal because it's when you get old you like it's like physiological.
Well, if you come to the live show, it's much more disruptive than a record, and yeah, for sure. I mean, now what I listen to the records I listened to as a teenager, and I also listen to whatever is new, But I must say I don't listen to noise music records.
Okay.
Do you?
No, I've never. But I know. I have.
I don't think that's. I mean, they don't.
I have many friends actually that are into noise music.
Yeah, I like noise music.
Okay.
But I don't like noise music records.
Okay.
It's very different.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah, it's a different approach, like sitting on a sofa and.
Yeah, it just doesn't have the same excitement when you're in the room. That feeling that anything could happen really helps the music, if you understand.
Yeah. Well, yesterday night, while I was like preparing this interview, I stumbled on the internet upon this Red Bull music lecture that you made in Rome in 2004, and I was like eager to stop the lecture and ask you something, because it was crazy that in 2004 you were kind of like ahead of the time, because you were mentioning like Animal Collective and Liars, Chick Chick Chick. By the way, those two names played at Locomotive Club last week.
Yeah, I know Liars are in. I didn't know about Chick Chick Chick, but I know that Liars is in Italy, yeah.
Yeah, like Chick 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 played on last Saturday at Locomotive. And you were talking about like people in the New York or generally American indie music scene from the early 2000s. And I wanted to ask you what Arto does listen right now, and
well, there's a really great band in New York of friends of mine called Z's.
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 What's
like
the spelling?
Z.
Z.
Zeds.
The Zeds. Okay.
The Zeds.
Okay.
They're really good. That's kind of the hottest new band. I mean, they're not so new.
Okay.
You know, but their music is pretty great. You know, I listened to the last guy I thought was super great was Young Thug.
Wow.
You know, the like craziest edge of trap. You know, right now the hip hop is not so interesting musically. It's more the shows that are interesting, like
also as a culture movement.
Uzi Vert and Tentacion XXX and these
XXX
super young guys. I like them, you know, but I think it's more exciting to be there at the show. It's almost like noise music.
Yeah.
You know, it's like kind of like a rock and roll thing. And they're really crazy. It's kind of the Iggy Pop vibe almost, jumping around, doing really intense stuff physically in the show. But then on the record, it's good. Yeah. But it's not new. Doesn't have that edge of newness, you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Abbiamo chiesto ad Arto quelli che erano i suoi ascolti, cosa lo stupiva ancora. Ci ha segnalato questa band di New York che si chiamano gli Z,
The Z's,
scusa, sorry. Che sono una band di New York che secondo lui è la cosa più hip in città, e abbiamo anche parlato un pochino di altre cose che ritiene molto cool ad oggi. Abbiamo parlato di Young Thug, di XXXTentacion, persone che nell'album magari suonano un pochino spente, però nei live show in realtà sono super.
Thug's records are better.
Okay.
He's crazier on record.
Okay.
No?
Last album of XXXTentacion, it's really atypical for a hip hop album. I mean,
it's like an acoustic album.
Yeah, acoustic with only guitar and voice. It's strange. I mean,
he's a strange guy. He's interesting.
Yeah.
For hip hop music, probably is more radical to play like rock or grunge rock than to play with the classic trap beat, because it's something that they never lived because they was born in the late 90s, and so they watch those years and they say, oh wow, that's the cool thing to do, and they like start playing guitar, which is kind of
that's actually an interesting point, because right now, I mean, okay, I was listening to music in the 60s, then I hear kids now imitating it, and it doesn't really touch me emotionally because I've heard, you know.
Yeah, you heard the original stuff.
The original, so it just seems like, okay, that's nice, but it doesn't really move me. But now things are changing. Now I'm starting to get interested in this weird way time moves, you know. I don't know, I guess it's been 10 years or something since I kind of went, and now I'm interested in these weird disconnections of time, because there's maybe some new possibilities there.
Ci sono effettivamente delle nuove possibilità in questa nuova disconnessione del tempo, dove per giovani talenti della trap sembra essere più interessante magari il grunge o la musica chitarristica rispetto agli stilemi di quella che è la loro disciplina, ed effettivamente anche Arto ricorda di come lui abbia conosciuto la musica degli anni 60 in prima persona e di come sia in realtà meno emozionato dalla riproposizione di quelle che erano le musiche di quegli anni rispetto a magari gli adolescenti che le vedono per la seconda volta. Quindi è molto interessante essere in questo crocevia spazio-temporale in cui stiamo rivedendo, diciamo, new waves of stuff coming on. And I wanted to say goodbye to Arto, asking you to pick a song out of your last record, and so we're gonna play it saying goodbye and wishing you good luck for tonight's show while Massimiliano is crushing the phone.
From the new record?
Yeah.
Why don't you listen to Unpair?
Unpair?
All the way through.
Okay. And can you describe the song?
Just listen to the song.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks for having me. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for being here. It's been an honor for us. Quindi salutiamo Arto con la traccia numero 10 senza introduzione, perché così deve essere. Grazie mille Arto per essere con noi.
Thank you very much.
Ciao.
In bocca al lupo per tutto e grazie ancora.